At 2037 Dubai time on March 13th, 2026, the first faint returns appeared on the radar screens of the Integrated Air Defense Network over the central Persian Gulf, 68 nautical miles off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. It was an ordinary evening in one of the most tense regions on Earth. The sky still held a soft pink afterglow of sunset, and below, the lights of tankers and container ships glittered on the water. Dubai was already blazing in full evening brilliance. Thousands of skyscraper lights, the golden illumination of the Burj Khalifa, rising 828 meters and visible for dozens of miles. The city lived its normal life. Tourists on the Palm, traffic jams on Sheikh Zayed Road, rooftop restaurants. No one suspected that 19 minutes later this idyll would almost turn into a nightmare. At Al Dhafra Air Base, 25 kilometers southwest of Abu Dhabi, home to the U.S. Air Force's 380th Expeditionary Wing, along with an A-10s Thunderbolt II squadron. Duty radar operator First Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez was the first to spot the anomaly. Low contacts over the water. Altitude 120 to 150 meters. Speed 165 kilometers per hour. Range 87 miles from Dubai. At first, I took it for a flock of birds or wave clutter, but the returns are steady. 8 targets now. Course 042, straight for Dubai. At the UAE Air Defense Control Center in Abu Dhabi and the combined CENTCOM operations hub at Al Dhafra, alarms went up immediately. The integrated IADS, Patriot Pack, 3, THAAD, Emirati Skynight, and US/FPS 132 class radars, was linked with an E-3 Sentry AWACS orbiting 120 miles to the south. UAE Air Force Major General Khalid Al-Mansouri grabbed the mic. Targets classified as Iranian Shahid 136 and Mohajer 6. Low-flying, sea-skimming profile. Swarm inbound. Estimated time to Burj Khalifa, 38 minutes. Scramble A-10s. Mission, intercept on the outer approaches. Do not allow any contact closer than 12 miles to the city. Inside Al Dhafra shelters, red lamps snapped on. 4 A-10s Thunderbolt II, call signs Warthog 31 to 34, were already at full alert. These flying tanks were still flying in 2026 precisely because they could work at extremely low altitude against drones and small targets. Each jet weighed 11.3 tons empty, carried a titanium bathtub around the cockpit, about 1,200 pounds of armor, mounted the Ju-8 Avenger 30mm cannon, 3,900 rounds per minute, armor-piercing depleted uranium ammo, plus 6 APKWS-2 rockets and flare dispensers. The pilots were veterans of Middle East operations. Major Sarah Reaper Clark, Warthog 31, Captain James Hogg Rivera, Warthog 32, Lieutenant Aidan Gum Morgan, Warthog 33, and UAE Air Force Captain Ahmed Alhamdi, Warthog 34, a joint crew arrangement. Engine star on the TF-34, G-100A, 47 seconds. Throttles up. Takeoff from runway 31L at 2041. For Warthog were airborne in 2 minutes 18 seconds. They immediately descended to 800 feet over the water, the classic A-10 profile for intercepting low-flying drones. Pilots brought up helmet cues and the lightning targeting pod's infrared imagery. Warthog 31 airborne. Dubai on the horizon. Burj Khalifa lit up like a Christmas tree. Targets ahead, range 64 miles. Intercepting. By then, the Iranian drones had already covered 210 kilometers from their launch areas on Iran's southern coast. It was a mixed group. 6 Shahid, 136 Delta Wing, piston engine, 185 kilometers per hour, 100 to 150 m altitude, 40 to 50 kilograms warhead, and 4 upgraded Mohajer 6 night cameras and satellite correction. They flew in waves of 2 to 3. Using wave clutter and low altitude to stay below radar coverage. The track was chosen perfectly along international corridors so that if intercepted, Iran could claim civilian objects. The IRGC command center in Bushehr transmitted final coordinates. Target, Burj Khalifa and the downtown Dubai area. Push for maximum depth. If you can't reach it, ditch at sea. The world must see at least a brie. On the American side, tension rose every 30 seconds. 2044, the E-3 Sentry passed precise coordinates. The drones were now 51 miles from Dubai. The UAE IDS fired 2 Patriot Pack, 3 interceptors, but the drones' low altitude and course changes let them slip. One missile missed by 400 meters. The second detonated 120 meters from the lead Shahid, but failed to kill it. Patriots can't do it. Hand off to the A-10s. They're closer to the water and can visually acquire. Warthog 31 and 32 dropped to 300 feet. Speed 320 knots. Pilots switched on searchlights and thermal. Reaper has visual. 8. No. 10 drones now. In formation. Red NAV lights. Brazen. Dubai straight ahead. Burj lights like a beacon. City range 39 miles. Starting engagement. Escalation accelerated. In Dubai's control center, Civil Defense and the Joint Command, upper floors of Burj Khalifa and nearby towers were already being evacuated. Thousands of tourists on the 148-floor observation deck had no idea that in 22 minutes they could have been met by explosions. City lights reflected on the water, an eerie, perfect backdrop for a night hunt. 2047. The first A-10 pair reached visual gun range, 4.2 miles to the lead drone group. Major Sarah Clark and Warthog 31 brought up the HUD and said calmly, "Gun selected. GU-8 ready. First pass. Hold tight, boys. Dubai is watching." She fired the 30mm cannon. The familiar BRRT tore across the Gulf, 120 rounds in a second. The first Shahid 136 exploded into fragments midair. Burning debris splashed into the sea. A second drone took hits to its wing, started smoking, but kept flying. 1 killed. Second damaged. Warthog 32, your turn. Captain James Rivera came in from the right flank. His gun barked again. 2 Mohajer. 6 disappeared in fireballs. Debris fell 18 miles from Dubai. The city lights were now visible to the naked eye. Burj Khalifa glowing gold and blue, reflecting in the water like a giant torch. In Bushehr, the IRGC operation commander, Colonel Ali Rezai, clenched his fists. They launched the A-10s. Those old warthogs still fly. Patriots fail, but guns continue. Let at least one reach the skyline. 2051. The remaining 6 drones split into 2 groups of 3. One attempted to bypass the A-10s to the left, closer to the Omani side. Warthog 33 and 34. Lieutenant Morgan and Captain Alhamdi rolled into a hard left turn under 5G and fired simultaneously. The GU-8 chewed the air like a buzzsaw. 3 drones turned into dust in 11 seconds. Debris fell into the sea, lighting the surface with brief flashes. But one Shahid 136 broke through. It flew at 85 meters, speed 172 kilometers per hour, straight for downtown Dubai. Range to Burj Khalifa, 14 miles. The A-10 pilots could see it against the city lights, a tiny dark silhouette against the golden tower. Reaper 1 penetrator, range 11 miles. If we don't kill it, impact inside 2 miles of Burj. Clark threw her A-10 into a steep right turn. The G-load pressed her into the seat. She slid into the drone 6 o'clock at 1.8 miles. Last pass. GU-8 fire. The cannon thundered again. 87 rounds struck the fuselage cleanly. The Shahid detonated in a bright orange ball. Fragments fanned out and fell into the sea 9.4 miles off Dubai's coast. None reached the city. By 2059, all 12 Iranian drones had been destroyed. The last debris splashed down 7 miles from shore. The A-10s returned to Al Dhafra without a single loss. Pilots climbed out drenched in sweat. Major Clark told reporters quietly, "We made it." Burj Khalifa stayed lit, but it was close, very close. In Dubai's control center, people finally exhaled. Tourists at Burj Khalifa never even realized they had just avoided a strike. The city kept shining, gold, blue, red, its lights mirroring the Gulf as if nothing had happened. In Bushehr, Colonel Rezai summed it up, "We lost all 12 aircraft, but we proved our drones can reach within 9 miles of Dubai." A-10s and UAE air defense reacted in time. Next time there will be more. The entire intercept lasted 22 minutes 14 seconds. Iran lost 12 drones. The U.S. and UAE lost 0. But the nerves of the entire region were stretched to the limit. The narrator closes the video in a low, calm, ironic voice over the rumble of the GU-8 and tense orchestral music fading against the night lights of Burj Khalifa. Today, Iran learned why the old A-10 Thunderbolt II is still flying in 2026. 12 drones came for Dubai, for Burj Khalifa, for the heart of the City of Lights. They crossed hundreds of kilometers over water, thinking low altitude and cheapness would protect them, and 4 warthogs from Al Daffa rose and turned them into debris in 22 minutes. The GU-8 spoke louder than any missile. Not one drone touched the skyline. Burj Khalifa still shines. We simply reminded you, your cheap drones against our A-10s and air defense are a very expensive lesson. This is our sky. These are our rules. And your shaheeds against Dubai's lights are just fireworks. Fireworks we put out ourselves.